check in with Simon Calder, travel correspondent to the Stars, a man that knows a thing or two about common sense. He's at Gatwick Airport this morning. Simon, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike, and of course the nation celebrates your return.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, it's coincided with massive problems, particularly again at Manchester Airport. The airport announced in the past hour that it has closed again both runways because of snow.
Right.
That follows the 3-hour closure yesterday, which caused absolute mayhem. We had 15 diversions because there's a whole procession of long-haul flights coming into Manchester Airport in the morning. They ended up in Birmingham, in Glasgow and Gatwick, where I am right now, Heathrow, and even some in Shannon in the west of Ireland and in Paris. So that was bad enough yesterday. Today, the diversions have begun. The Qatar Airways flight from Doha has once again gone to Birmingham. I've just been checking on the progress of Emirates Flight 21 from Dubai to Manchester. That looks as though it's diverting as well. Not quite sure where yet. It's been holding for about the last 50 minutes. And I'm afraid things look as though they are going to get worse before they get back to normal.
Yes, because it's going to get colder, I believe, this week. It's going to be more snow. I mean, the south hasn't had too bad of a snow problem, but certainly from anywhere sort of north of Oxford, it looks pretty white out there, doesn't it?
It does, and unfortunately we're also seeing, even where it's not freezing, we're seeing flooding. That's closed the railway, for instance, between Leicester and Peterborough. Would you believe there's a fallen tree between Canterbury and Ramsgate, which is stopping trains there. As we were hearing in the traffic news, M25 anti-clockwise closed at Reigate because of a jackknife lorry, and the M5 in Gloucestershire also closed. And I'm afraid that's going to be the story of the day, and that's at a time where I calculate we had 150 flight cancellations yesterday, not just Manchester but also a dozen or so here at Gatwick, plus many more at Leeds Bradford Airport and Liverpool John Lennon Airport.
It's enough to stop you going on a plane over Christmas and New Year, so why not use the train instead? Oh, no, they're on strike. Yesterday, I think, was the first day for Avanti West Coast to have one of their Sunday strikes from the train managers, or whatever they are, who are going on strike. How did that all go, and what did that mean for people trying to get up and down the West Coast?
Well, actually, West Coast was all right yesterday. It's the one Sunday before June when you could catch a train without disruption. The train managers on Avanti West Coast will be walking out from this coming Sunday until the 25th of May inclusive, and that's going to knock out about 3/4 of the trains.
Right.
Where we had big problems yesterday was on the East Coast main line with LNER. That's the line which runs from Scotland via North East England and Yorkshire to London King's Cross, saying, please don't travel, delays, cancellations, why don't you use your ticket today? Grand Central did the same, so people will be doing that. Hopefully they will have a smoother journey. But look, the infrastructure in this country is famously susceptible to bad weather, and I'm afraid there's a lot of it here already and more on the way.
So are you saying, and I have a special interest in this because my son has to go back to Manchester next weekend, are you saying that it's all right to travel on the Sunday then? It's not too disruptive?
No. Yesterday was the only Sunday before June when you could travel on a Sunday without disruption. Sorry not to make that clear.
Oh, sorry.
But yes, we are going to see most trains cancelled. There will be a skeleton service, and certainly Manchester to London, that's likely to be an hourly train instead of 3 trains an hour. So they will be a little bit crowded, and similar thing, Birmingham and Crewe and Preston with 1 train an hour, and then the occasional train from Glasgow as well, but they're only going to be running between about 8 in the morning and 5 or 6 in the evening. Yeah. And that's around about how much they get paid for working on their rest days.
When they had their strike on New Year's Eve, I noticed that the last train leaving London for Manchester was going at about 2:20 or something like that, something ridiculous. And the same coming back the other way. So they certainly know how to take the day off, don't they?
Well, they say that they've had a very strong vote against the offer, which would have seen them get £250 for working on a weekday, £300 for working on a day off during the weekend for an 8-hour shift. They say that's not enough. Bear in mind that the drivers get a flat £600 for working on their day off.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And they're not happy with that. Incredible stuff. Don't worry, Labour government will fill their boots, I'm sure, with whatever it is they want. One final one for you, Simon. If you wanted to stay at home and just drive around in London, just for the heck of things, you'd find that you were travelling at the slowest rate of anywhere in the entire European continent, because apparently London's roads are now the most congested in the whole of Europe. So well done, Sadiq Khan.
Well, look, a lot of people would say, and you're quite right, things are very, very slow if you're driving. But it's a number of people would actually say, well, if that's moving people onto public transport, that's probably a good thing, as long, of course, as that public transport works, which you and I have discussed once or twice. It doesn't always.
It doesn't really, no, does it? And they're just about to increase or introduce, finally, after a lot of arguments, toing and froing. In New York, they're going to be a congestion charge. So if you're travelling to New York now, you probably have to pay even more to come in from JFK or Newark, because there's going to be a congestion charge south of Central Park all the way down to the bottom of Manhattan.
Well, yes,
$9.
But congestion charges seem to work, Mike.
They don't.
In terms of the aims of these places.
But if a congestion charge works, Simon, why is the congestion in London worse than it was before they had the congestion charge?
Because they put in loads and loads and loads of road closures. I happen to live in a bit of South London, where since COVID, I mean, it's great if you happen to be a cyclist like me or a pedestrian. The traffic goes at about 3 miles an hour. That's less helpful if you're a driver, particularly if you're a professional driver driving a taxi, for instance. That's going to be very, very.
But surely for a congestion charge to be a success, you have to have no congestion, don't you? Isn't that the point?
Well, you have got low. Right. You look. I have seen the congestion charge in action. I live at a very, very busy junction. Traffic almost halved overnight when it first came in, and it's been dwindling ever since. And yes, you can say, well, that's terrible.
Why is the traffic so slow then?
Because it's not going very. It's basically held up by 20-mile-an-hour speed limits, lots of traffic lights, roadworks, and so on.
No. You can't have it both ways, Simon, but I'm not. It's a winter of goodwill here, so we're not going to have a row about it. But anyway, we'll come back to it. I'll let you know what happens in New York when they put congestion charge and see if the congestion disappears. I guarantee you it will not. But thank you very much indeed. Simon Calder there reporting into us from Gatwick Airport, where there's more trouble. If you're waiting for a flight to come in, there's a pretty good chance it's not coming. It might be getting diverted somewhere else. 0344 499 1000.